And good afternoon. Or I like to say goodness. This is Sporty King. I say goodness because I don't know whether you're watching this in the morning, the afternoon, or the evening, but I know it's good whenever you're watching it because it's always about being good, and that's what we do. Look, I'm coming on a little early. It's Glue Wednesday, and I always like to get on early so I can do my shout outs to people who come on early with me live because this is my interactive day. If this is your first time with Glue on Glue Wednesday, where you been? Stay and come back again. But Glue Wednesday was born from the saying that so often people say that Wednesday is hump day. And I say, well, you know what? Wednesday, hump day was based on a 5-day work week and a weekend, which is the way we used to do it old school. We didn't even think about flex time. So Wednesday was hump day. We got over the hump. Boom. With my joy and word sensitivity, trying to keep everything positive, I say, you know what? Who needs to hump? We need to keep it together. Wednesday is the middle of an actual 7-day week, regardless of when you work. And so therefore, it's the day that keeps it together. It keeps the week beginning and the week end together. Therefore, it's the glue, which puts us right into that prayerful mode that I like. And that's why my glue stands for GLUE, and that is that God's love undoes everything. All right. So, hey, it's time for my first shout out. What's going on, Roger Carroll? Good to see you. Good to see you. First one up and says hello to everybody. That's right, because those who will come, we will welcome you when you get here. We've got less than how many minutes to go before our broadcast? Because I got less than 2 minutes. I got a new setup. And so things are changing, y'all. Got some good things starting to come up when we'll be able to do a 2-camera shoot and have different graphics going, this and that. Man, I'm having a ball. And this is what I say to us old school people. You got to learn technology. You got to learn it and go on and fumble through it and figure it out, which is what I do. A lot of times people say, oh, Sporty, you're so good at that. Y'all don't know how late I stay up fumbling and figuring this stuff out. But that's what it's for. And it's so much fun. Remember, we created the shortcuts. They're made for us. We created the shortcuts, so let's enjoy them, okay? So God's love undoes everything. And what we're doing is what I call the GAS series, and that's the Glue Alphabet series. Because what happened is I've been doing Glue Wednesday since 2017, but when the pandemic hit, instead of doing it just on Wednesday, I did it on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And to help me come up with themes for each week or each day, each message, what I would do is I'd say, okay, everybody, let's go one alphabet letter at a time. And then so each letter became the theme for the next one. So what you saying here, Roger Carroll? Fumble forward with technology. I like it, right? Yeah, fumble forward. Football season is over, but so what? That still means fumble. When you fumble, go forward. And sometimes we have to look at that as life, as we trip. When we trip forward, right? Okay, because it's going in the direction that we need to go and to do what? To glue, to keep it together. So we call it the GAS series because every week, different people will put in the thread, which you can do even if you're watching the video, the feature letter for next week with a word that begins with that letter. And I will find a way to get that word into the message. For instance, our feature letter today is the letter P. Next week, so the letter Q is going to be the focus next week. But right now, our feature letter is the letter P. And here are my co-authors. They gave me that words with the letter P, and that is Victor gave me people, Marsha gave me pace, Roger Carroll gave me prodigious, and Ramona gave me petrichor. Okay, so what I decided, I took those words, and so my creativity, my goal now becomes to create the message, which today is respect. So I use those 4 words that begin with the letter P to create the message respect. Now I want to stop for a second and make that clear that the words you put in the thread will not necessarily make the message begin with that letter. but those words will be infused into the letter. So what's going on, Vic? Just got here when I was doing my shout outs for my office. So two of my co-authors are here right now, Roger Carroll and Victor. And what will happen is there's something called the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. Is once you say something, it starts to pop up. So since our focus letter is the letter P, words that begin with the letter P will just pop up throughout the message, pop up throughout the message. But also both Roger Carroll and Victor and Ramona and Marsha, when they watch the tape, they will be listening for their word. And what that does is that makes them a better listener, them and you. Because as you start to notice the words that begin with P, as you started to hear, and when these words that the co-authors gave us pop up, you'll hear them. And because that's what happens. Your subconscious starts to look for the thing. Have you ever said, "Oh, I want to buy a blue car," and now suddenly every car you see is, you don't see any blue cars. That's why you say, "I want to get a blue one." As soon as you buy your blue car, you see nothing but blue cars. All right. So that's called the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. And I'll repost that next week because once a month, I like to post that so people can see it and have it in their toolbox for understanding. So there go my co-authors for the message respect. But also let me tell you how I just play around, because see, I think, we all think we know what respect is and what it means. We've all hummed with Aretha Franklin. We've all hummed with Aretha Franklin and spelled it out more than once in our lives, right? RESPECT. And we let the E stand out when we spelled it. And we let the E stand out. And so that, thinking how we let the E stand out, that took me back to our February 10th gas, where the feature letter was the letter E, and the message was everybody. The message was everybody. So therefore, what I decided to do was I decided to Google the definition of respect, and with a kind of a sarcastic intention for showing people that everybody doesn't know what it means, and everybody doesn't necessarily deserve to be respected. Now, don't get the don't deserve part confused. That part is the debatable philosophy that I think is really in the moment. After all, think about it. After all, don't we say you have to give respect to get respect? Yet my philosophy doesn't really see it as a quid pro quo. Give to get. That's quid pro quo. You give something to get something. I don't think you have to give respect to get respect. I think you have to earn respect. You have to add the letter L and then learn respect. You have to learn respect, which then took me back to our April 7th feature where we focused on the letter L, and the message was, when it rains, look for rainbows. When it rains, look for rainbows. See, so the same way that we have to choose to be positive in the storm, we have to choose how to pace ourselves in this new relationship with the person or people who've rattled our trust in our relationship, and then teach them how to treat us. Just because you choose not to respect me doesn't elicit my disrespect of you. It's not you got to give respect to get respect. No, if you don't respect me, that doesn't mean that I disrespect you. I may dislike or dismiss you. However, I may still respect your feelings or your actions toward me. You see the difference? Yeah, so you have to help people learn. You have to learn about respect. So I don't have to disrespect you because you disrespect me. No, I can just dislike or dismiss you. And to put an asterisk on that, see, my philosophy is if you don't like the way someone treats you, you change the way you allow them to treat you. You see, that's one of the reasons I felt it necessary to post the definition, which I haven't posted the definition yet, by the way. But because earnestly, some people don't know how they've respected us. Okay? Some people don't see their actions as being disrespectful. And maybe you shouldn't see their actions as being disrespectful either. You see, what you need to realize is that they are A, doing what they're used to doing to everybody, by B, treating you like they think they can because until you mention it, they think they're treating you differently. Say it again. The reason you don't have to feel their action is disrespectful is because you should realize that they're A, doing what they're used to doing to everybody, by B, treating you like they think they can because until you mention it, they think they're treating you differently. So you don't have to disrespect them. You have to stop them from disrespecting you. And if A and B sound familiar, it's because I think they need to be verbalized since sometimes the person thinks that they're treating you differently. People have to learn to respect you by how you teach them who you are, which means what? Well, it means that you have to know who you are, that you have to know what you will or will not accept. You know, you have to know how many second chances you're willing to give. Even how far back have you allowed them to treat you this way? And that's a tough one because, like them, maybe you didn't see it either. Which is why I say I don't have to disrespect you based on your disrespecting me. You see, maybe I've actually changed how I choose to be treated, and I never announced the upgrade. And even as I teach the upgrade, it may be uncomfortable or misunderstood. Yet I can endure the discomfort because I understand that I won't always be understood. And as I focus on what I can control, I build upon the most important respect there is: self-respect. When you hummed along with Aretha, I'm sure, I'm sure you remember that lyric where she said, "Find out what it means to me." That's self-respect. RESPECT. Find out what it means to me. But let's twist that lyric a little bit and realize that what it's saying is that you have to find out first. As Aretha sang, RESPECT, find out what it means to me. I have to know what respect means in order for me to teach you how to respect me. In fact, speaking of first, my title, my title of this message originally centered around the vision that our featured letter is in the middle of the word and how each of my co-authors' words show themselves as the core of respect. See, that P is in the middle of respect. So each of my co-authors' words, pace, people, prodigious, prodigious and patronic. Whoops, give me a second. I don't want to think. Prodigious and petrichor are all the core of respect. That was my original vision of how I wanted to put this together. Because so think about it. I've already talked about how pace and people. I've already mentioned that. But respect is time sensitive and relationship specific. Pace and people. So let's move on because meanwhile, what surprised me that in Googling the definition, I found that Google using a negative connotation to define respect, when a positive one could easily have served the same purpose. Here's what Google had: due regard for the feeling, wishes, rights, or traditions of others. But here's the sentence it gave: young people's lack of respect for their parents. Young people's lack of respect for their parents. That sentence could have easily been young people's respect for their family, for their parents. And so I ask you, are you allowing negativity to define your existence? Are you allowing negativity to define your existence? Your relationship with respect. Is it negative? So therefore you're exuding negative, negativity. And that's why it's defining and impacting how people interact with you, and more importantly, how you interact with people. That's why you will always hear me say, control your vocabulary. Don't allow your vocabulary to control you. Control your vocabulary. Don't allow your vocabulary to control you. Think about how your tone in expressing each of those sentences would be. Okay? There's a different tone when you say young people don't respect their parents versus young people respect their parents. Let's take a minute here and see what we got. Okay? Vic saying hello. Okay. Roger Carroll, word for next week. Roger Carroll. Oh, Belinda. Hey, what's happening, Belinda? And Philip, see, the letter focus is P. Good afternoon and welcome here. Welcome aboard to you. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Think about how your tone would be in expressing each of those sentences. You have a different tone when you say young people's lack of respect for their parents than you do for saying young people's respect for their parents. For our communication is 93% nonverbal. 38%, 55% is how you look, 38% is your tone. It's only 7% the words you use, which is why you can control your vocabulary rather than allowing it to control you. All right. So what I did is I took our word prodigious. I took our word prodigious and find that it is an adjective describing something or someone as extremely impressive, either in mass or in quality. Now, while this word comes from prodigy, a young person who has an incredible ability, the adjective prodigious actually does not refer to someone being a prodigy. Used in a sentence, he took the prodigious leap. I call it stepping out on faith. He had many prodigious diving feats. I call it creativity. He had a prodigious appetite, being able to consume 9 pounds of steak at a meal. I call it dinner. You see, we respect someone believing in themselves, trusting their skill, and making the cook feel good. You may not have you may not like a certain athlete, yet you may be impressed with their game or even their community involvement. Prodigious. What we got here? Vic, I have decided to control my emotional response, which is very difficult, and that's why that actually can become an affirmation that we have to say to ourselves. I have decided to control my emotional response. That's a very hard thing to do because no emotion is wrong. You have the right to be upset. You have the right to be angry, afraid, excited. No emotion is wrong. It's what our response is to the emotion, the outcome that changes the context of the emotion. So deciding to control it, what you do is you stretch that definition to how you're going to control it. I have decided to control my emotional response by being more positive, because there's nothing wrong with having an emotional response of saying, oh man, this is getting on my damn nerves. There's nothing wrong with that because that could happen. But now you have to then say, yeah, okay, but you know what? I've been there before. I can't get out of this situation unless I calm myself and be positive. How can I look at this a different way? Okay, and thank you, Vic, because giving me a chance to use that example is part of what we want to be able to do. Because we don't, I don't just want to spit words out at y'all, because I can do that. I'm a wordsmith, right? But we need to have meaning to our words. As we talk about communication, it's the understanding. And so we want to add some life and some context to what we're saying. Roger Carroll, I don't like Tom Brady, but I expect his skill. And a lot of people were like that. A lot of people didn't like Tom Brady, but you respect his skill. So thank you. Again, you don't have to. So there's an example. I don't, she didn't say you don't just, I don't. So let's say, for instance, if Tom Brady didn't respect you, but you respect his ability, I didn't think about fast enough on that one. So we won't necessarily use that, but there's a lot of people in the NFL, players, not just fans, who don't like Tom Brady, but they respect his ability. So that's why I say, it's not necessarily give respect to get respect. You can like someone but not respect them. Would you say, Roger Carroll? Oh no, here, Vic, you are right. It's the way to handle conversations. Thank you. Yeah, and that's hard, y'all. So let's go to the focus on the letter F. I don't remember what our message was that week, but I know for sure that faith was in there, and faith and what? Forgiveness. But you know who you have to forgive? You have to forgive you. You don't have to forgive other people. You have to forgive you, because even with what we're talking about now, you've allowed them to treat you the way they've treated you. They've been who they are. So you don't have to forgive them, because forgiving is almost like pardoning. Okay, you're off the sentence. No. That's who they are. And again, it's not always conscious. Sometimes, people are treating you the way you've allowed them to treat you. You have to redefine the relationship. And it's definitely on you. It's definitely on you. You have to take charge. This is your relationship. What are you going to do with it? Okay. So those were the sentences that we looked at. Okay. So we have to respect someone believing in themselves, trusting their skill, and making the cook feel proud. You may not like a certain athlete, and I'm just rereading it. You may not like a certain athlete yet, be impressed with their game or even their community involvement. Meanwhile, petrichor is a noun. And before I go to petrichor, I see I got a comment. Let's see what we got here. Vic, true with Tom Brady. He showed me he's just not a cheater, but a winner. Right. He won, but cheating and skill, right? And if y'all not football aficionados, that goes back to the days when the scandal with the New England Patriots, how they were cheating by doing what? Using a different type of ball or stealing the signals or something like that. Well, Victor, are you? Oh, amen, Audrey. What's going on, Audrey? You welcome in from North Carolina, from Raleigh. All right. So yeah, that's the deal, Vic. You got it. So let's go back to the definition of petrichor. Where is that? Let me see. There we go. Petrichor is a noun, and it's a pleasant smell that frequently accompanies the first rain after a long period of warm, dry weather. Now, this is the word that Ramona Hopkins sent to me in email. She always emails because she can't join us live. And I decided that what I'm going to do is share what she wrote when she emailed me. Okay, and before I do that, I'm going to see what kind of comment we got. And the reason I stopped, by the way, and check the comments, because they're coming on a time delay. And so you may be seeing them when I say something and I'm not. And so that's why I don't mind taking a break and going back and see it. Filming people deflating the balls. Okay, that's what New England was doing. It was about them deflating the footballs. Okay, good. All right. Okay, so petrichor, here's what Ramona sent me in the email when she sent me her word. She said, it gives us a better understanding of feeling happy about a rain. It's not just the sight of a rainbow, but the smell of the rain itself, along with April showers bringing May flowers. Petrichor heightens our sense of smell. And it turns out it's not just gratitude that makes rain smell so appealing after a long period of dry weather. There's actually some chemistry involved too. Bacteria, plants, and even lighting can all play a role in the pleasant smell we experience after a thunderstorm, that of clean air and wet earth. Known as petrichor, the scent has long been chased by scientists and even perfumers for its enduring appeal. That's what Ramona wrote when she sent me petrichor. And so I ask you, have you ever thought of rain being a smell of gratitude? or that it evokes a feeling that takes over our very being in given situations. Included in Google's definition of respect, it says that it's a verb and it's to admire someone or something deeply as a result of their abilities, qualities, or achievements. Used in a sentence, she was respected by everyone she worked with. Imagine how she had to feel. Imagine gratitude coming through rain. Imagine how she had to feel. Respect. Realize that you don't have to give respect to get respect. But what you have to do is respect yourself to allow yourself to be respected. And that speaks to and creates the core of who you are. You don't have to give respect to get respect. You have to respect yourself and allow people to learn to respect you. That's the core of who you are. Respect. Our letter today was the letter P. Pace, people, prodigious, and petrichor to get respect. Next week, our letter will be Q. So Roger Carroll's already put a word in the thread that begins the letter Q. Even if you're watching the broadcast, you can put yours in, and I'll get you in as a co-author. And so next week, our focus will be on the letter Q. I'm Sporty King. That's with a K, not a Q. This has been Glue Wednesday, and I'm so glad that you joined us. And so I'm so glad that you allowed me to let you also be co-authors on the fly. Well, we got Vic. Okay, let's see. Question. Okay, for next week. All right. So thanks for always enjoying the message, tuning in. I'll keep making sure that I bring you updates as I get more comfortable fumbling forward, as Roger Carroll would say, with the technology. Yeah, but what also is it doing? Fumbling forward with progress. Fumbling forward with progress. Thank all of you for being willing to do the same. Peace to you all. I just want to put that up there one more time. Vic, peace to you all. Thanks again, and be safe. Wear your mask. I'm Sporty King. Over and out. Ciao. There we go.